Welcome to the Calgary Sessions. This is episode number 21. Sometimes I forget, but this is definitely number 21. I'm your host, Jeff Humphreys. Today's guest, him and I met, I don't know, it's been maybe 6 months, 7 months, whatever the timeline is. It's been a newer friendship. And I wanted to get him on the show because the first few times I met him, his energy was through the roof. His brand is also amazing. So I'll let him introduce himself and what he's up to right now.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. You said we've known each other for a short time, but we really connected quickly and kind of were drawn to each other really fast.
Yep.
And thanks for saying a friend. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I like you as a friend as well.
I felt the same way because you come across a bunch of different characters and you know right away who the good ones are and who you're willing to invest some more time in. So
right.
Tell everyone who you are.
Sure. Well, my name is Jason Seitanidis, and I'm the owner of Matador Pizza and Steakhouse in Varsity.
And for those that don't know, Matador is like...
It's one of the staples in the Northwest. I'm pretty lucky. We make Calgary Greek-style pizza, which is pretty unique to Calgary, obviously, Calgary Greek-style. And being of Greek heritage, Calgary Greek-style pizza.
Totally. And how long has it been there?
It's been there since 1976.
So most people in the Northwest will know it. It's like, it's an institution up there.
Well, I'm very blessed. Yeah, you're right.
Like it's been... Yeah, it's one of those places.
Yeah, it is.
I'm born and raised Calgary, Southwest, but you know, I've heard the name Matador. Obviously, when you and I connected, I got to try it for the first time. So
for sure,
good pizza.
Is it good? I think it's the world's best pizza, but you know, I'm biased, right?
Slightly biased.
Yeah.
So the shtick of the show is I like to take the guests back as far as they want to go. Like we said, you know, this is you and I just connected recently. So for you to, I'm very interested in your backstory. So when I say take it back, it could be, you know, where you grew up, how you grew up, you know, what you were involved with growing up, whether it's sport, how you got into the restaurant biz. So just kind of take it back as far as you want to go until you feel like, this is kind of where things started making sense for me.
Sounds great. I grew up in Southwest Calgary. I went to school at Richmond Elementary. I went to Viscount Bennett and then went to Central High. Kind of that's where I grew up.
Yep.
My parents were in the restaurant industry. So they worked like dogs, you know.
And where'd they work?
They had a pizzeria called Rome Pizza in Brentwood, and it was there for, all the 60s and 70s.
Rome
Pizza.
60s. Okay, so 60s and 70s. So it was long gone before I was.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of the staples in Northwest Calgary as well too, back in the day in Brentwood. It's no longer there anymore, but it was there for a long time.
So is that how you grew up in the restaurant?
Yeah, I grew up sleeping on beer cases in the back of a restaurant,
way.
Washing dishes and cutting green peppers by hand.
Like
right?
the cliche family restaurant story.
Yeah, like, you know, if you think of crazy TV shows where, you know, the kids are in the back of the restaurant and, you know, mom and dad are working their butts off in the front and in the kitchen. And that's how we grew up.
That was it.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you first started? Were you like in the back because there's no babysitter?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because my parents were working their butts off, right? So we, I think my dad bought it his first restaurant in 1976, around there.
Okay.
And he grew up, you know, Greek immigrant, right? And $65 in his pocket when he got off the boat in New York, kind of thing, right? And made his way to Calgary. Met my mom, and, you know, eventually had a family, and then all his friends, Greeks, immigrants as well, were all in the restaurant business in the 70s, right?
Why is that? Why was that a thing?
I'm going to go back a little bit about history for a second, really quick.
Give me a lesson.
The Calgary food industry, in my opinion, is really influenced by a few really distinct things. 60s, the Chinese restaurant. 70s, the Greek pizzerias. 80s, Italian surgeons. 90s was, I feel like it was the East Indian and Lebanese kind of influence starting to come in. 2000s, it kind of, 2000s was a bit of a funny pub culture. And then early 2000s, we kind of went to that chef culture.
Yep.
And today we're kind of in that craft beer culture where brew pubs are starting to come around. I think they're in the middle of their height, I guess, right?
Yep.
So every 10 years or so, we have a new thing that influences food in Calgary.
Yep.
I think those are the key ones that are really, I missed the Japanese influence of the early 2000s. So those are the major changes in culture in Calgary as far as food goes.
Yep.
And they all have their place, and they also have their lane. And that's what's made Calgary's food scene so cool and unique.
Yep.
I feel.
So why did all the Greeks decide to get it? Like,
so
they show up in Calgary, and what happens?
It's funny. We always said that Greeks are like rats. we'll go.
You said it because you are.
That's right. We'll go anywhere in the world to sell a club sandwich, right? So that's kind of how it started, right?
Yep.
And again, our culture here, our pizza culture here in Calgary was really started by Greeks.
Yep.
It wasn't the Italians like you'd think, right? Our style of pizza that became unique to Calgary is definitely Calgary Greek style. It came from New England, of all places. Greek immigrants came to the States. They started making this heavy ciabatta style pizza in New England,
Yep.
and it made its way west into Canada. It's heavily influenced in Saskatoon, Regina, but it found its home in Calgary. And if you look back at all the old school Greek restaurants or pizzerias in Calgary,
What are they? When you say that, where do you go?
So Atlas Pizza, Matador Pizza, Greco's, Spiro's. Those are the staples, right?
Yep.
And are still around today, right? There's lots of come and gone, but those are the ones that are still thriving,
Yep.
right? I'm lucky that we're one of the first ones of, my pizzeria.
Yep.
And our style is heavy ciabatta, heavy topping, cheese on top, full fat cheese, baked low and slow at 550.
Yep.
And 20, 25 minutes, and that comes out crispy top, crispy bottom, and that crunch when you cut into it, right? Yeah.
So when you were going after high school, sorry, I'm going to take you back there.
So I got sidetracked. Sorry.
No, it's going to go all over the place.
Okay. All right, good.
So when you're in high school, did you go to university after?
I went to Mount Royal.
Yep.
I took real estate. I was going to become a realtor. I did become a realtor actually in the 90s.
No way.
Yeah.
So how does
selling houses?
Did your parents still have a restaurant when you were in high school?
They had Rome Pizza in Brentwood still.
So did you make a conscious decision that you wanted to not be in the restaurant space?
No, because I was always there working, and I think. Well, so why did I go take real estate? I think it was just an extension of my family had always saved money, bought a house, rented it out. My father was always, scraping by, getting cash and buying a property, right, and rent it out. So it was always we were always entrepreneurial, our family.
Yep.
And I think I was a young man. I didn't have the cash to do a restaurant on my own at that point. And I knew I wanted to get into it eventually, but I didn't want to do it under my dad's umbrella. I wanted to be my own guy, right?
Yep.
So for me, going to become a realtor was something within my wheelhouse that I grew up seeing and understanding.
Yep.
And I was pretty successful at it. And then when the market fell in the late 80s, it was chaos,
Yep.
right? And that's when I thought, geez, this is a great opportunity to get into the restaurant business. And that's when I purchased my first restaurant, or bar actually is what it was. It was a place called Harry's Pub in Crowfoot. And man, what a good time that was.
What year did you buy that?
I bought it, and so market fell in '89. It was probably
Like early 90s?
Yeah, early '90s.
Okay.
Yeah, and my future wife and I, we worked our butts off at that place, and got cut our teeth in the restaurant business there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you're growing up and you're like, it's interesting hearing how your family operated, like a restaurant and buying properties and renting them out, which is very, it's it makes a lot of sense to me, but there's some risk to it too. Did you always know that when you grow up in that environment, did you always know that you're going to do your own thing? A realtor is essentially your own thing. You're kind of in charge of everything.
Absolutely.
You're working under an umbrella, but you kind of need to find your own clients and do all that.
Yeah.
Did you always know that was going to be your play, to do your own thing?
Yeah, I did. I
did. Did they talk to you about it, or do you just see it and then that's what you wanted? I
just saw it and I knew that was for me.
Yep.
I knew that I wasn't great at taking direction from other people, and I wasn't a good employee. I would have been a horrible employee. So I knew I had to do my own thing, and by doing my own thing, it was mitigating my own risk, and for the maximum reward, right? And so because the restaurant business is very, very, very risky. but growing up in it, I knew how to mitigate my risk. And same with the property industry. I knew how to mitigate my risk.
Like,
So it wasn't risky. It appears risky if you're out on the outside looking and don't know anything about it.
yep.
Darn, like if I was to open a drilling company tomorrow, that's risky in my book. But for someone who's that's their wheelhouse, it's not risky.
Yeah.
So for us, it wasn't.
What were the big takeaways from working in the family restaurant for all those years?
Oh, just hard work, right?
Is it
learn how
that
to work.
just like you're there for all these hours and you just do everything?
Yeah.
Like that's as basic as it is?
That's how basic it really is. If you don't know how to do everything, don't do it. Like you got to know why your recipes work.
Yeah.
You have to understand, what makes that recipe and why people like it. And what about that room do people like? And why are they choosing you when they have so many choices?
Yeah.
Right?
So did you, why choose you? That one is, when I worked in the restaurant biz for a lot of years, not like I didn't own a restaurant, but I understand customer service and why people make choices, but I'm very interested to hear, did your parents, were they the face out front or was one out in the front, one in the back? And so you got to see both sides happening?
It was just like you'd think an old Chinese restaurant. Mom out front, dad in the back in the kitchen, right? And that's how it was. Yeah.
So you're watching. So you're watching your dad understand his craft in the back, and then you're watching your mom navigate the front and dealing with customers all day.
Absolutely. They kind of came into it a bit more blind, but again, because of our culture, my father had a lot of friends and influence prior to him going into the restaurant business. He had, Tops Pizza was a really great friend of his. And so he had a lot of mentors that helped him on his journey as well.
Yep.
So he was very, very lucky that he didn't go in blind. Like, geez, you hear these guys who make a fortune in something, and they decide, I'm going to be a restaurateur. I'm going to own a bar, and it's like, why are you throwing your money away?
That's the risk.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Open another drilling rig or something. Don't open a bar.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
Which is
I love lanes. Good.
Obviously, one of the first times you and I talked, it could have been about lanes. We talked about lanes specifically for a while, which makes a lot of sense.
Important.
So when the realtor thing, did you enjoy it? If the bottom wouldn't have fallen out, would you still be doing it? Or was there like this thing in the back of your head lurking that was like, I need it?
There was something in the back that always was like, you're going to be a restaurateur anyway. So, and your passion for real estate is still there.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed selling houses for people and businesses for people. My first sale in real estate was a business. And I think it was a dog grooming business on 4th and 40th.
Okay.
It's still there today. It's great. And that was my first sale. It was a commercial sale, and that's pretty unusual. And and then from there, it just kind of took off. And I always enjoyed helping people buy their real estate or their business, and fully knowing that I'm going to have my own as well. And that drop in the market presented an opportunity. It wasn't, how Buffett says, be fearful when people are greedy and greedy when people are fearful.
Yep.
So that was kind of
you
the thing that switched. I saw that, and prices were falling. Things weren't moving. So there was a big opportunity to buy real estate at a discount and or businesses at a discount. Kind of like we're seeing today. Businesses got hit hard by COVID. And there's a whack of them for sale right now, right? So is there an opportunity? Yeah, I think there might be.
Once you made the decision to buy the first place, were you out of real estate completely, or did you kind of do both at the same time?
I was doing it until I closed it. And then when I closed the deal on the bar, I got out of real estate.
Gotcha.
But I was still buying. So I had some real estate, and I sold it to buy the restaurant. And then when I owned the bar again, I was starting to acquire cash and then starting to buy more property again.
Interesting. So when you decide to buy the first bar, like you're looking at it not as a risky thing because you've seen everything work before.
How it worked.
Versus, like you said, this restaurant business is how many
dog eat dog. It's crazy. Yeah.
And they don't
Come and
succeed.
go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you buy this thing by yourself, or were you married then?
By myself.
Yeah.
Well, I just got married. Sorry.
Okay.
I just got married. My wife had never worked owned a business. Her family was never in entrepreneurial.
Yep.
And so I had to kind of take her by the hand. So she also supported me because it was my choice.
Yep.
She worked for a company called Nortel,
Oh, yeah.
and did great, right? Stock options, the whole 9 yards. So we had some more seed cash there too, right?
Yep.
So she quit
Yep.
Nortel, and she cashed out some of her shares. We started buying the restaurant and more houses. So it was kind of nice. It was fun to see her grow into become entrepreneurial and help me attain my vision. Right.
And the entrepreneurial thing, like I don't like to use the word for myself just because I'm new at all this. I just you're different, right? You grew up around it. That's who you are. That's what you do. I'm really curious. And you said it like your parents didn't tell you this is what you're going to do.
No, never.
But do you think you just start gravitating towards that because that's what you're surrounded with all the time?
Yeah, your environment I think plays a big part, right? If your dad's a dentist or a doctor, and your mom is a dentist and a doctor, odds are you're going to be a dentist and a doctor too, right?
Yep.
Like it's just because you hear about it all day.
Yep.
Your parents come home, they talk about their day at work. You kind of listen on the side, whether you're consciously or unconsciously taking it in.
Yep.
I know my personal doctor, his parents were doctors. So so I think for sure, and we have the same kind of upbringing, right? Where his parents struggled and worked hard to get to where they were and retired, and he's we're about the same age, and he's doing the same things, right? So it's kind of fun.
Did they ever talk to you about not doing it?
No.
I interviewed my buddy at Trolley 5, Ernie.
I went to school with Ernie.
Yeah.
We went to Central High together.
Okay,
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. What a successful group of entrepreneurs came out of that school and that class specifically.
Is there more of you characters?
Oh my God. There's some super successful individuals in that group.
No way.
My God. Multi-millionaires. Incredible.
Crazy.
You got to meet some of these individuals.
Well, yeah, that's great.
It was one of the most successful group or circle of friends I've ever had.
That high school crew.
Yeah. I'm still pretty close with a lot of them today. Pretty weird.
So when I talked to Ernie, it was his mom didn't want him in the business.
No way. I remember there's a few Chinese food restaurateurs in that school.
Yep.
And they were like, I'm never going to be a restaurateur. I'm never going to work in a restaurant. And being, we were all first generation Canadians.
Yep.
So for me, it was cultural. For Ernie, it was cultural. I think by Ernie fighting it for so many years, not wanting, and his parents not wanting him into that culture, kind of pushed him into it. Actually,
totally.
Right?
It forces you.
Yeah.
But you were like,
well, all my friends, a lot of my Greek friends were all restaurateurs. If you look
is
at
it all the Greeks that came here
every one of us?
No way, open up restaurants.
Yeah, we either became restaurateurs or tradesmen, like tile layers or painters and stuff like that, right? Yeah, it's really strange.
Like super
bizarre, specifically Calgary, right? Like there's so many Greek restaurateurs in the city. Chinese and Greek were the basis of our food in the city. It's weird.
Yeah, super strange.
Yeah.
So when you buy the first place, what was it called again? Sorry.
That was called Harry's Pub in Crowfoot.
And so it was an existing business, been there for a bit.
Yeah, it was semi-successful, but I took it and was able to triple it within a year.
So you buy it as the economy is kind of going down. So you saw an opportunity.
Right.
The owners are like, that we need to get out. So you're like,
yep.
And did you know already what the blueprint was going to be to make it successful?
Yeah. It was writing was on the wall. It needed energy, and it needed a face that was going to be in there all the time. And the bar business is a youthful business. It's not an old man business.
Yep.
And you got to create, again, in the bar business, to become successful, you got to connect dots, and you got to introduce people who are currently there to each other, so they have a connection to that place. And that's super important. By having events and inviting everybody to those events and connecting those people, like, oh, hey, Steve, you're a tradesman. You should meet Jim. He's a plumber, and you guys will, can feed off each other, right?
That's how you look at it.
That's how I looked at it. Yeah.
Do you look at that? Do you look at it that way versus host an event to have 125 people in the room, or do you look at it? Or are you looking at it? That's going to happen, but the connection is the piece.
The connection is the piece. Then the crowd comes after.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
And when you bought it, you were willing to be the face?
Yeah.
And literally
I had to be the face.
6-7 days a week.
I worked from
open to close?
9:30 in the morning. I got to the restaurant, and I went home at 4 in the morning, and I did that every day.
For how long?
10 years. Yeah, it was gross.
A young man's game, though, right?
It's a young man's
You
game.
couldn't do it, to do that right now.
And I
Family, blah blah. Like,
yeah,
that'd be
today
a stretch.
where I'm sitting today in my life.
Yeah.
No, I don't have the energy for that anymore.
So, a decade with that kind of commitment.
But my wife and I, we agreed we're gonna do this. Mm-hmm. We're gonna work our tail off. We're gonna save every penny we can while everyone else is out buying BMWs and buying big houses in Aspen. We're gonna stay where we are.
Yep.
We're gonna pound every dollar away, and we're gonna invest it into other business or other income sources, and we're gonna be retired at 35. So we did it, and then we had kids. We moved away to Europe. So I'm jumping around again. Sorry.
No, don't worry. I'll drag you back.
And then my wife was like, "Hey, we gotta go back to Calgary. The kids gotta go to school here." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sounds good." And I was gonna buy them in a meat shop. Go figure. And I was gonna meet my accountant at Phil's Pancake House on 16th Avenue Northwest. And I said, "I'm gonna bring the books to M&M, take a look at it together." And he said, "Okay, I'll meet you there."
And it was M&M. It was just kind of.
It's down the street from my house. I live in
Was it
Cambridge.
starting to grow a bit? Like
M&M was just starting to expand.
be a franchisee. Buy your location.
Be a neck down guy, right? Because I was like, I don't want to.
I love how you're saying it now. You're like, what was I thinking?
I don't know what I was thinking. So my accountant had me as a client and the previous owner of Matador as a client, and they were pursuing me to come buy it for years after I got out of the industry.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, I'm never going back in the restaurant business.
Just based on the work you did for the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had kids now, right? And they were starting school. And I wanted to be with them. That was my focus. I wanted to be with them. And so we met at Phil's Pancake House. I flew into Calgary, and I'd had the books, and my accountant says, "Here, Jay, Martin Margolis, great guy. Oracle of Edgemont, what an amazing individual."
Awesome.
He says, "Look at these books." And he passes me the books from Matador Pizza. And I opened them up, I read them, and I bought it that afternoon.
No way.
That's not a joke. It's exactly how it
No
happened,
way.
right? Yeah.
It was that clear.
It was that clear. Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
There's not many times where you can find such a quality business and has such a huge track record. When you get that opportunity, you jump on it and don't look back.
And what year was that? What year were you at Phil's?
Oh, that was probably 2008, 9, something like that.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I want you to dig into that, how you ran Harry's.
Yeah, that was fun.
I've never heard a restaurant person say, host an event to make connections.
That's
That's
how you do it.
But it makes so much sense. But I've never heard anybody that owns a bar and restaurant say that.
So, for instance, if you walk into a bar that you know is just recently opened, and there's 4 people in there, and they're all sitting at different ends of the bar, and no one's talking to each other, as the owner or bartender, "Hey, Jim, have you met Fred over here? Hey, Fred does this, Jim does this." All of a sudden, boom, right?
You're sitting closer.
And they're chit-chatting, and the next thing you know, every happy hour, I got to go see Jim at Harry's because he's gonna be at the bar having a pint of beer, and I enjoy our conversation. And someone you chat with.
Yep.
Same woes, same pros, same everything, right? And by connecting those people, you're just creating that. They're clients, obviously.
Yep.
But you're also creating a culture where it's a destination, right?
And then you're not chasing price.
You're not chasing price.
Because these people they're coming because they feel like they're in a family environment, right?
Yeah.
There's
It's 5:00. Malcolm's going to be at the bar, having a pint.
Yeah.
I'm going to go visit and say hi because he's a cool guy, right? That's how it works.
Was that the first move for you?
That was the
Like
first move.
the most important thing?
Number one was to get everyone somehow connected. So when you walked into that room, you knew somebody, or over half. My goal was for everyone to know everyone. That eliminates any kind of a problem, any kind of people acting up or being silly. Everyone took care of everybody, right? If you were a pool, say we had a clique that was a bunch of pool players, and say a clique of dart players was playing, and one of them got out of hand. It was like, hey, it's not accepted here. Get out. Right?
Everyone's on the same page.
Everyone's on the same page.
They want to protect their home.
This is their home, right?
Yeah.
It was their bar. It wasn't me. I just provided a location and a connection for everybody, right? That was it.
And you hosted a party for a decade. I
did.
You open the doors, come into my house. We'll take care of you.
Yeah, we played ball together. We did curling together. We did everything together, right?
Did you? Well, obviously, I know the answer, but you loved it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's a lot of energy going out, though, right? Like you're always
all the
on.
energy going out. You're always on. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And it was kind of a neat place.
A good location? Like I don't even know where it was.
It was no,
like
it sucked. Man.
Like, is it like where was it? Like shitty end cap in a strip mall?
End cap on a strip mall in Crowfoot, across from a Joey's Fish and Chip. You know what I mean? So my competitors were Shanks, Brewhouse.
Well, you were up in that
Boston Pizza.
Yep. Was Joey's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
were all
right?
there, right?
And then so you're like literally.
I'm the little guy in the big pond.
And
actually, it was a sea, right? Because those guys had deep pockets, and I didn't have any pockets, right?
How big was the room?
The room was 3,200 square feet.
Oh, so it was big.
It was good size. Yeah, it was 158 seats. So, but remember that era was all big room.
Yeah.
So my room was actually small in that era, right? Well,
Yeah.
in the era of 5,000 plus square feet.
Right.
No one's opening 5,000 square foot restaurant in this market. Nobody. If you're opening over 2,500 square feet, you're ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
The models that are out there now that are big, you couldn't open those today.
Yeah.
You just don't. You can't. It doesn't make any sense.
So you don't have like primetime real estate.
No, I have the worst real estate. I'm a corner unit and on the bottom of a 2-story unit, actually below grade.
Like nondescript.
Nondescript. You would never see it from the road.
And yet you look at, because right now you think about opening up a restaurant, you think like location.
Right. Right.
Whether it's 17th, this drag or wherever.
Yeah.
But anyway, you look at this end cap and you're like, oh,
I can do it.
I can do this.
Yeah.
Based on what gave you the confidence to do that?
The size of the kitchen, the size of the room, and how I can create a menu that appealed to everybody. And I didn't want to compete with Shanks. I didn't want to compete with the Brewhouse. I didn't want to compete with Chianti's. I didn't want to compete with Boston Pizza.
Yep.
Although I had a great product, and I knew that once you got it, you're gonna love it. So my basis was pizza.
Did you flip the entire menu when you bought it?
Most of it,
Like
a big chunk of it. Yeah, I tried not to in the beginning, but I kind of had to.
Yep.
It was just too big.
Yep.
And pare it down and put the stuff that I loved and the stuff that I was passionate about to make. And because I was a chef too, I cooked there too as well, right? And the things I enjoyed, I figured, well, if I love them,
everyone else
should love them too.
Where'd you learn how to cook? At the family restaurant?
At the family restaurant, yeah.
So you're beside your dad in the back?
Yeah, flipping steaks or actually doing prep, right? Washing dishes. So this was my first whack at learning the restaurant business.
But he taught you everything.
Sure. Cleaning grease traps was one of the most disgusting jobs.
You got really good at it?
I was the guy. When you crank open the top of a grease trap, the old school ones, they had a big steel top, and there was these big wells, and the water comes in, grease settles, and water flows out. So you had to clean them up by hand. Scoop it out back then. Right?
Crazy.
Yeah, it was disgusting. So I'd be this deep into garbage, right? Oh, it's just disgusting. And the smell was like sewage, right?
Glamorous, hey?
Oh,
being the owner's son.
Hey, look at
Oh, your dad owns a restaurant? Yeah.
Come watch me clean the grease trap.
So you buy this place, you're gonna flip it to a pizza joint? Can you say that?
That wasn't the original plan, but the plan was to start delivering and make a really great product that people would love.
Yep.
And it didn't matter to me that if it was associated with the bar, but I just want people to have that great product.
Yep.
And so I started delivery out of that room.
Hired just a random driver?
I had a customer as a driver, and he was a client. He loved to come in and play Pac-Man on the tabletop, and he was there anyway. I'm like, Gary, you want to take this pizza? He's like, yeah, I'll give you X dollars and you can keep the tip. He's like, yeah. So that's how it started, and he helped me grow it as far as he was there every day driving pizza, and it kind of exploded. It really took off. We got very lucky, and
this is before anything, right? Are they calling in for orders?
They're calling in for orders.
They're not texting.
We did
they're not
flyers. No, this is phone. So then I thought, well, this is doing really good. Why don't we do like a full Greek restaurant as a ghost kitchen before ghost kitchens were ghost kitchens, right?
Because you had your kitchen was big enough to pull it off.
Huge kitchen. Oh yeah, it was massive. So we started doing Greek food, and we called this little restaurant called Mr. Greek's in the Northwest. It was just a flyer. We sent them out. That exploded. And I thought, geez, this is doing great. Let's try another one. So we did another one. It was another ghost kitchen concept. It was called Paltoni's. And that blew up. So the funny thing was, my pizza that I had at Harry's Pub was amazing, and people loved it.
Based off of your family?
Yes, my dad's recipe.
So, but this is Greek. This is like
Greek style,
old school
pizza.
Greek family
ciabatta style, heavy, yeah.
But like passing down this like
yeah.
Okay.
So when I opened up the Greek restaurant, I also wanted pizza because I was already selling pizza. I had this big double deck oven, and I thought, well, let's do it the opposite of how we do our signature pizza. So all we did was just take the toppings and put them on top of the cheese. So it was different, right?
Yeah.
And back then it was only white boxes. You didn't have a choice, right? And so that was Mr. Greek's pizza. And then we did Paltoni's. And all we did was make a real thin crust and put half the amount of toppings and cheese on it. And it took off, So we had one restaurant making 3 different styles of pizza. And how lucky I was that it took off, and I had to hire, more and more cooks. And as that just expanded, our the bar was blowing up because I was making connections with all. Remember, I'm a little guy in a big C.
Yep.
And all the players around me are chains. So much like how Ernie did, he went around the industry.
Yep.
I just concentrated in the Northwest, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna have the best Sunday night in the whole city. And I made connections with all the owners or managers at Boston Pizza, at Chianti's, at Shanks, at back then we had Outback. We had there's a bunch of different all chain restaurants up there.
And you were walking around, shaking hands,
I'd
and
just go shake hands and say, hey, and some of them were coming to my place, and for instance, Shane from Chianti's, I'd say, hey Shane, you guys have 35 employees. Why don't you guys come in on Sunday? We'll give you a discount. And sure enough, that whole crew, 11 o'clock, they shut the restaurant down. They come flying into Harry's, and we want 400 wings. We want 8 pitchers of beer, and boom, it just started, right? Shanks, they're just closed at midnight, and they're like calling in. Hey, our last call was at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock back then. They're calling in at last call order. Hey, the chefs want 4 pitchers of beer, 450 wings, and 2 pizzas. There's 15 of us on our way, right? And then there'd be 40 people because they're bringing all their customers that were inside there, right?
Closing at midnight. Sunday night
was so packed, man. It was ridiculous. We're like at 4 o'clock, we're kicking with the door. Guys, you got to go. AGLC's going to come. We're gonna get out of here, man. We had all the boxing matches. And this was like before it was cool, right?
Yeah.
And we'd paper the windows because we had so many people, right? It was just like, this is nuts, right? Before wrestling was kind of big, we'd have these kids come in and just take over the whole restaurant, like 150 of them, all to watch wrestling on the big screen and eat, 25-cent wings. It was bizarre.
Crazy.
The culture we created there was pretty fun, pretty unique.
Do you think it's possible to recreate that now?
I do. I think it's probably even easier today because people are starved for connection, and no one's doing it. Everyone wants to do chef culture, or they want to do small brew pub culture, and it's not creating that connection.
And that connection, when you say that, that's like old school. You walk in, you know everybody in the room. The owner knows you by name, like that old school, right?
That's how it's got to be.
And the only way to do that is to be the voice and the face, day in and day out.
Day in, day out. Yeah. You ask your circle of other restaurateurs.
Yep.
For instance, a friend of mine, Taki, he owns the Pegasus Greek restaurant. And without
Another Greek guy.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Go figure, huh? So he's such a face of that restaurant. He's in his 60s. If he leaves that restaurant, if he's not there, there's not a drive to go there. I think the Pizza Face guys kind of said it, the same idea as well. You know, when he started up that concept of mobile pizzeria, people were coming to see him.
Yep.
Right? And if he wasn't there, it was not as successful. When he was there, it was always go, right?
Yep.
I never met the guy, but I think he's a pretty neat character, and I'd like to meet him, actually. He's got a great concept, and I love it. He's got no overhead, right?
Yep.
Pretty neat. Anyway.
Well, he's doing the same thing you did with 3 ghost kitchen out of one.
That's the way to go,
You were so far ahead of what was happening.
Ghost kitchens now are the thing.
That's it.
Right? And we were doing it before it was a thing. You know, it's funny, at Matador, we always say, we were using fresh local ingredients before downtown restaurants were putting on their menu to be cool, right? That's just what we do. That's just what we did. We always did that, right?
Yep.
And we didn't really shout it out. We just, that's what we do.
It's the right way to do it.
That's how it should be done, right?
Yep.
Old school recipes, use real ingredients. Don't use sugar.
Yep.
Don't pump a few people full of corn syrup. Don't do it. Just make real food, man. And people will get it eventually. Or if they don't get it eventually, you got to shout it and let them know, right?
Yeah. But you hope that everything you're doing, behind the scenes and in the front of house, that just kind of let people, they're going to stick around and experience it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a guy like Kinjo is doing a great job of that. Like back in the early 2000s when he started his concept, you know,
Like Sushi Kinjo?
Yeah. No one used sushi in the city, right?
Yeah.
Or very few. And by him shouting it out, you know, I'm the best. Try a poke. Come on and see what we do, right? He really blew up the sushi culture in this city.
Where was the first one?
I want to say Dalhousie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Crazy.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah, neat idea.
It's all connected, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, like I said, there's not very many cultures that have influenced food in Calgary. Calgary being a young city, and I can't wait to see what comes after brew pub culture.
Yeah,
it's going to be great. I don't know what it is. I think it's going to be a small room, but just personally, right? I don't know what. I think we're going back to. I'm hoping we go back to dive bar culture because that was a lot of fun in those days.
Is that what Harry's?
I'd say dive bar culture. Yeah,
like his.
Yeah.
And when you say dive bar culture, how would you explain it?
18 to 85.
Just everybody.
Everybody. Not pretty rooms.
Yep.
But not ugly. You know what I mean? Like the pretty room era and the Irish pub culture is kind of. It's played its role, I think.
Yep.
I think we're looking for something new. I'm hoping it's dive bar culture again. It was fun. It was a great time. It was a wonderful time to be young in Calgary during that era.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no way. I still like you say that 10 years of those hours like that. That's the only.
I used to sleep in my back office, just crash for a couple of hours and wake up and go do it again. Right. Just get charged up and it's almost go time. It's almost happy hour. Right.
Turn it all back on.
Crazy. Yeah. It's nuts.
So when you're crushing pancakes and coffee and these books are on the table and he's saying, but buy Matador and you do it.
Yeah.
What are you walking into, and do you have a plan already, or are you using the same plan that you already?
I do. It's very similar to to what I did prior. There's a few things that as soon as I see it, I kind of clicks. Like I'm like, okay, that's great. Don't mess with it.
Yeah.
And this is where we can improve.
When you say that, you know those things just based on experience, intuition,
all of it. Yeah, gut.
You can just see it.
It just comes. You just see it. It's just like, oh yeah, we have this room, and we can do this. And right off the bat, you just kind of know.
Yep.
You're a lot of times. I think if you're a new entrepreneur and I think you're going to go into the restaurant business, you should buy something first, rather than build from scratch. It's just not economical to do it. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Yeah. When you put out $5 million for a restaurant, you're to get your money back.
Pay it off.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. By the time you get almost all your money back, you're so out of fashion,
Yeah.
right?
The concept's over.
Concept's done. Yeah. And that sucks.
So you buy Matador. And
Yeah.
Had you eaten there a lot before?
Yeah. Oddly enough, my dad and George, the previous owner, were good friends. They grew up together, like in Calgary, right? Like they were fresh off the boat. Both didn't have any skill sets in the restaurant industry when they started. They became close friends, and he pursued me when I got out of the bar business and restaurant business. And he was like, "Come by." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Greece. I'm gonna go sit in the beach.
I'm tired.
I'm gonna go relax, right? Have some kids and enjoy Greece." And coming back, it was kind of funny. I'm like, I'm not going to the restaurant business. I fought it. And sure enough, back in it, right? Yeah.
Head first.
I'm loving it, right? Yeah, of course.
So what was the formula for Matador without like giving it all away?
Sure, I'll give it all away. It's not nothing secret. I saw the room and I saw the numbers and I saw its potential. So why I say restaurants and bars are a young man's game. As we get older, we lose that drive, that energy, and we become complacent. Not that Matador was ran poorly. It was ran amazingly, and it had great numbers and a great base. It just didn't have the drive to grow anymore. He was happy. He's making his money, putting it away, buying properties, much like we all do, right, in our industry. And he was happy. He was content.
Yeah.
And when he wanted to move away, he wanted to move to Kelowna, and I was his out. Or we know a lot of restaurateurs don't have an exit plan, right? And he was one of them as well. And he was fortunate that I was at the right time. Yep. You know, it was just the perfect scenario, right? And so back to the question of what did I see? I saw a great room with a great product that hadn't had energy in it for a little while.
Yep.
Just needed that back and a refresh. Lipstick, nothing crazy, right? You don't want to scare away your base. You want to build on that base.
Yep.
Matador is a generational restaurant. You can walk in tonight and you'll see a table with 4 generations: grandma, grandpa, the kids, their kids, and great grandkids. Right? It's like, where else do you see this in the city? There's not many places.
No.
17th Avenue, you don't see that.
No.
You see young 35-year-old professionals.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Right? They're the ones who have cash, right? For this area, right? Whereas us, it's completely different. My grandpa ate here, so I ate here. My great-grandpa loved your restaurant, so that's why I go here. That's something that you can't recreate by opening up. If I open in this room here where we are, I couldn't recreate that.
No.
So that's the base. And then energizing it by making it fun again and making adding pieces that complement the base, don't deter the base.
Yep.
So we had a bar at Matador, and it wasn't a really big bar culture, and it had I think two or three VLTs when I bought it, you know, and we kind of grew that room out, and and then we had more VLTs. We were lucky enough that we were growing and more VLTs were coming in.
Which is like giving the place a little more energy. You know, you're not
That's
upsetting people because it's kind of off to the side.
Absolutely.
The base can still kind of hang out.
That's right. You know, we increased the amount of taps on beers on tap. Went local. Not necessarily super crafty, but local enough that you recognize it as a guy coming in, because my experience is people love to talk about craft beer. They don't like to pay for it.
Yeah.
So, or one, right?
Yeah, totally.
I want to sell 10, not one. And although your beer is great, don't get me wrong. Yeah. They can drink 10 of those generic ones, right? And
totally.
one of those heavy, bitter, hoppy ones, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So I added things like that. I upgraded the kitchen for more volume. Knowing that I was going to add delivery, I was going to trying to increase takeout, and trying to increase our reach. And so I went in, pretty much, I left the footprint the same because it's a small kitchen back there. and just updated all the equipment. And that really helped us get to that next level.
Yep.
And when we added delivery, and that just blew up. Our delivery is a business in itself now. Like if I didn't have the restaurant and I just had delivery, I'd be fine. Like we're so lucky.
Yep.
And COVID just kind of blew that up. Right?
Totally, because you can't go anywhere, so people need to bring it to their door.
And it was so funny during COVID. People were coming in and saying, "Hey, you guys, okay? Yeah, we're doing all right. You know, we're lucky we have the back door." But people still wanted to come in.
Yep.
You know, it was hard to say you can't come in, right? That's their home, right?
Yep.
Like, so
for years.
So they're coming to get a pizza to go, and they're supporting us, and they're super supportive. Like, we're going to come as much as we can. You know, we're going to be here for you when you guys reopen. It's just that's always keeps you motivated, right?
Yep.
But our delivery and takeout just went through the roof. Like, it was crazy how much product we're moving during that time. Unbelievable. And we still are. It hasn't slowed. It's crazy.
Well, because it's good.
We're lucky. We're very lucky people like us. Yeah, we're totally lucky.
So you kind of took a similar approach to Harry's into Matador?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Make connections.
Yep.
Yeah, get people meeting each other again, because they always knew each other.
Yep.
A lot of those people went to they bought a house in 1960 in that neighborhood, had kids. Now their kids are moving back into Varsity, and they're having kids.
Yep.
Their kids are having kids.
Yep.
So it's kind of a really neat neighborhood. It's gentrified a couple times, right? And I'm very lucky. Like I said, I'm just lucky to have the clients I have, right? And we see the squeeze on me now as an independent restaurant. Across the street at Market Mall, I have milestones. I have Boston Pizza on every corner of me now. I have Dalhousie, I have a Boston Pizza, I have a Boston Pizza in Market Mall. I think there's another one just a stone throw away.
Yep.
So I'm surrounded by these huge players, and with deep pockets, right? And we just keep getting squeezed. But we still survive and we still thrive. So we're doing something right.
And when you see competition coming in, what do you adjust anything, or you just kind of dig into what you're doing?
No, man. Again, I'm a big fan of lanes, like we talked about before. I'm doing Calgary Greek style pizza, and I'm not swaying. Yep. I'm not going to play against Boston Pizza or Little Caesars or whoever.
Yeah.
So I make what I make, and we're really good at it. So just keep doing that, and because people like it, and my clients will pay for it because that's what they want.
Yeah.
The guy who wants a 2-for-1 pizza isn't going to ever want my pizza because he's buying for a different reason.
Yep.
He's buying to feed 30 guys or whatever it is, or price point, and that's fine.
Yep.
As long as there's people who still like what I do and are willing to pay for it, that's a great lane to be in.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty concentrated.
And but knowing that, it's kind of it's not just guessing that these people are going to like always be around, but it's being confident in the long game.
Yeah.
To know that, I'm here for a long time. I'm gonna ride this out. I'm gonna do what I do.
Yeah. So here's a question for you.
Oh God.
How many restaurants in Calgary have been here for over 45 years in the same location? Same location.
Dude, so I'm 44.
Okay.
So since I've been born in Calgary.
Since you've been conscious of restaurants.
Can
you name any?
Well, you said Spiro's. I feel like that's been there a long time.
It has.
But,
same location too.
Yeah. But I don't think, Pegasus way back in the day, I'm just using the ones you use because on 14th.
Yeah. And now it's in a new location.
Yeah. Now
same owner.
Tucked away in
Altador. Yeah. So
I can't think of anything that's...
The one that comes to my mind is their burger place, Peter's.
Oh yeah, Peter's.
67, 68 they opened, right? There's got to be some other ones.
Maybe.
But I can't think of them off the top of my head really fast, right? No. So we're pretty unique in that aspect.
Yeah.
So we've already gone through the cycles, and we know that we can withstand storms. And a big part of it is, just being in that lane and connecting dots and people, right? So if I see one of my clients come in who's dad used to come in, and now her kids come in. I make sure I'm there and say, you know, your grandpa loved this restaurant. He sat in that booth every time he came in. Him and your grandma came and sat right here. Where are you going to sit?
Dude, like,
You're going to sit in the same spot.
well, and you're going to just, we make decisions, or I'll speak for myself. You can chime in. I make decisions based on connections.
Sure.
Whether I'm going to go buy a car, a house, I'm going to make a choice to what restaurant I'm going to go to.
Yeah.
Usually I think about if I know somebody, you know, where's the community that I feel comfortable in, you know, like where's my connection piece? And that's where I decide to spend my money.
Love it.
Which
That's super. And that's how, kind of like how I feel I connect dots that way.
Yeah.
So you're friends with Jay, me. Odds are you're in the Northwest, you and the girl are going to go out for dinner, you're going to come see me.
You're,
Odds are pretty damn good.
you're at least in the conversation.
Right on. Yeah. And if I'm in the conversation, that's all I can ask for is, hey, I'm top of your mind.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Right?
Which, and that's like old school marketing, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's for me that this is the mind fuck here because of what my job actually is in digital marketing.
Yeah.
But the way you've built two businesses now, maybe there's more, but the two that I know about is like old school connections in the room, face to face, maybe some flyers to get these random ghost kitchens, but it's like super old school.
Old school. Even my properties are very similar. So I have a niche market that I rent to.
And they just fill themselves.
And they fill themselves, man. I rent to nurses, and they fill me up every time. If I have a vacancy, they fill me up. So I'd say 70% of my rentals are nurses. Weird, huh? Or caregivers of some sort, right?
But yeah, stay in your lane, right?
How much more? It wasn't conscious, right?
Yeah,
it was always subconscious. That's what I did.
But why is that though? Have you ever do you ever take the time to actually sit back and think about why I'm actually making these decisions? Like it is subconscious, but what is it? Because
thinking about that question, I think it's I want this room to be successful, and if I love being in this room, how to make you want to be in this room? And I love hanging out with everyone here. Yeah, they're all awesome people and they're all different. How do you fit into that room? Well, first, you're a good guy. You're not an asshole. You're not going to start a fight. You're not going to be a jerk. You've got a good base, right? So, Jeff, come on in. Let's go meet Todd. He owns an oil firm downtown. Yep. He might be a good connection for you for marketing in the future. Yep. Maybe, maybe not. But you know what? You guys are going to have beers after work at 5 o'clock on Friday. And maybe he'll be a client, or maybe you'll just be good buddies and go to the Flames game together, right? Who knows? Yeah.
Can you transfer that knowledge to the staff, to the team?
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard.
Because it's in you, right? You're a dot connector. Yeah. You open doors, you connect dots. You don't even think about it. You just do it.
That's right.
But to find people that actually can do that,
it's so hard to do it because it's something that's just inherent in you, right? Don't get me wrong. My staff is wonderful. I love them all. Yep. I'm probably the luckiest guy in the whole city. My executive chef, guess how long he's been with me? 35 years.
Crazy, man.
My Sue, over 20. My newest chef, 4 years. My funhouse staff, I have a gal who's been with me for 15 years.
Wild.
I have another gal who's been with me for 12 years. These are, my previous GM, he was a client of mine at Harry's pub in Crowfoot and worked with us up until just recently. He moved on to a new career path, and he was with us. Well, I've known him since he was 18, I guess, right?
Crazy.
And he's in his 40s now. So it's kind of, I'm pretty lucky that a lot of these people have bought into Jay, or they bought into the idea, and they make money because they bought in. Yeah. Where people make money in our industry is when they finally stop fighting it. Like, I don't know about when you were in the industry, you were in the DJ, you were part of the entertainment aspect of it. were you always like, I'm just a DJ until I get this? Or were you, I'm a DJ and I'm a DJ all the time?
Yeah, I operate
So that's unique.
at a level, right?
That's unique.
If I'm going in, I need to do it at the level.
Yeah.
And know that I have a responsibility to deliver
Sure.
at that level.
That's unique to you.
Yeah.
Because most don't. Most of the servers and bartenders and chefs in our industry are, I'm doing this until I go back to school and become X. If you embrace this industry, you're going to become very wealthy at it.
Yeah.
And not as an owner necessarily, as a server. If you say, I am going to be a server and I'm going to be the best server, and you embrace the culture and you embrace the industry and you operate it as a business, because it's your own business, basically. If you're a server in a restaurant or a bar, you have a section, and that's your section to fill. How you fill that section is your responsibility. The owner has the room to fill, but if you can create, as a server, an environment within the environment, you're going to be super successful, right? Why are the best servers got everyone sitting at their tables?
Yep.
Because they have a connection.
Yep.
Right? So I try and tell staff that, okay, I own a building, but you're responsible for this area.
Yep.
If you fill it, every table, every seat, all night, you're going to be super rich. It's cash, right?
Yep.
If you are just blah and don't give a...
Yeah, it's like a short term, like...
Right. I'm just here until I graduate from...
Something better, whatever.
Right. No one's going to want to sit in your section because you're not engaging.
Yeah, you're half-assed.
Right? Engage your clients.
Yeah.
Have fun with them. They'll come back. So my challenge was to find servers like that and find chefs that are like that. Hey, you're a chef. I tell you what, if you buy into my concept, I'll take care of you for as long as you want to be here.
Yep.
If you're not interested, you're not part of our culture.
Yep.
Right? Same with the servers. If you're buying in, fill your section, tweet on your social media.
Yep.
Hey, I'm working tonight 5 till close. Come on, say hi.
Yep.
I asked them to do that, right?
Yep.
Some do, some don't.
Yep.
But there's a difference. You can tell the difference in who's ringing out, X dollars versus no dollars, right? So
it's being proud of where you are. It's also being proud of the job you have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
The industry can be
super rewarding and opens doors like crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can think of clients of mine who are in the industry because. Let's go back to Harry's real quick. So I had people who were running golf courses. All the staff from the Hamptons golf course would be in my bar. Maybe I'm talking out of school a little bit, but I shouldn't be telling the places. But I had a big group of individuals who worked at another restaurant bar.
Yep.
And they'd come in, and a lot of those guys who were mid-management guys all started getting connected with other individuals within the industry. So oil and gas, right? Yep. So a mid-manager from that other place, who was a client of mine, met a guy at my place who was a dot, and all of a sudden he's now their marketing guy, like taking clients out for drinks because that's their wheelhouse, right? And all of a sudden he's now got 30 years in the oil and gas industry. Yep. Out of being a mid-manager at another place, right? So our industry is so dynamic. Yeah. There's so many characters. There's so many and characters you don't even notice, right? Like, man, I don't know. I've had so many opportunities as a restaurateur by meeting people in other industries that are like, hey, that taught me something I didn't know about a different industry, and I was able to capitalize on. Yeah. But yet still stay in my lane.
Sure. Totally. Like you can see the opportunities, but very quickly, like, okay, this is an opportunity. This isn't.
If you invest a little bit over here, you'll be okay. Yeah. But stay in this lane. This is where you make your money, right? This is where you get money to do other things, right?
Totally.
So if I didn't have the restaurant for cash flow, I wouldn't have a proper portfolio. I wouldn't have a stock portfolio. I wouldn't have if it wasn't for all that, I would just be selling houses maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. Do you think you could? Do you even give it like 1 minute of thought, the real estate game?
I dig.
Or is that like another life ago?
it's still part of my life.
Yeah.
I went and looked at a house yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a side-by-side duplex in Rosemont. I was like, while we drove by it, I'm like, Jen, you see that house? And she's like, yeah. I should we go look? Yeah. Okay.
So you like real estate, but to actually be a realtor,
I don't know.
like it's a different life. It was a time and a place.
Different time, different place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny, man.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Super cool.
But it's still a big part of what I do, though.
Weird, massive.
Right? Yeah.
It is. Yeah. When you say it's weird, it's just weird because it's just all connected still.
Yeah.
It's like all these dots are on the board and they're all connected.
Yeah.
But to actually sit back and think about why or how,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you can come up with an answer.
It's tough. I have to say dot connecting. I've always loved dot connecting.
It's random though, right? Because you can't invest energy in dot connecting. You can't invest like the long-term future in dot connecting. But it is everything.
If without it, you don't have anything. Mm-hmm. For instance, the second you and I met at my restaurant, I had no idea about how you run your business and how you operate your business. But right off the bat, I liked your vibe, and I was like, this guy's going to be a good guy.
Yep.
And I think one of the first things I ever said to you was, you need to meet my buddy Jade or my buddy Mo. Mm-hmm. They're in the industry, or we're in the industry, and they might be a suitable link for you, right?
Yep.
And I had Jade a couple of weeks ago on here, and
totally.
You should have Mo on. Mo Aladdin is a super charismatic individual, over the top personality, extrovert, like complete opposite of what you love, right? But on this show like this, he would.
Okay.
And he has a pretty big circle as well.
Yeah.
So another thing besides dots, I always look at circles. Like, how does this circle differentiate from this circle? Mm-hmm. So, and how do I keep circles different, but yet have a finger in each of them? Mm-hmm. I always like building new circles. So when we talked about networking, I love going to networking groups because big groups, and I can always, how do I take this group and gain some insight to something different, right? Not gain personally, gain knowledge, friendship, something that I wouldn't gain in this circle. I operate in all the time. Mm-hmm. So I love having extra circles in my group or around my group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, you know what I would. This is we could talk for hours, but anyways, sure. the other, it'd be very interesting to hear, those like traditional kind of branding, like Myers-Briggs. There's another friend of mine has this one that he has called it's called BAM. BAM alignment, just to listen what kind of personality type you are, because it's like everything you do is around circles and connections and dots, and like I would just it's
subconscious. Mm-hmm. I don't actively go out and say I need to build a new circle. Yeah. It just happens by itself.
Do you think because you're giving energy towards it, or you or is it?
I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's.
Sometimes you meet some people and they're like, indifferent, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's not for my circle, right? Even though you might be great at it, not for my circle, right? Mm-hmm. I need people who I want to be around people. If I'm going to invest my energy, I want to be around people who are just as passionate about what they do. Look at a guy like Britton, who that's how we got connected. That is first, the connector, right? Yeah. So Britton is one of the most mellow, quiet dudes you'll ever meet in your life. He just sits back in the corner. Great at what he does. He's a master at what he does. But you would never know it, right? But he's just a nice, likable guy that I'm like, you got to come into my circle, right?
Yeah.
And
you just know, right?
Yeah, you just know, right? And he, by having him in my circle, he was a dot connector. I was like, he didn't realize it, but I was like, there's a dot and there's a dot. Cool. Now they're matching, right? Yeah. So it was neat.
Wait, what's refreshing? The reason I'm kind of on this topic with you is just because it's refreshing to hear somebody else who kind of navigates their life like that. Because I feel it's definitely the way my head goes. Yeah. And it's a little arbitrary.
We're gonna make you an extrovert. We have to make you an
We're
extrovert.
Here's the mind.
Sure.
When me and Jay were talking before this thing, the camera went on and on the phone the other day, I told him I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
I do not like big groups.
Yeah.
The mind fuck for everybody that kind of knows me as a DJ.
Right.
I'm in big rooms with, a large amount of people as an introvert.
Yep.
But when you actually step back and think about it, I'm behind a barrier.
Yes, you are.
There's either a stage or there's a booth in front of me, so there's like separation, so I can handle these large environments.
Right.
But I'm an introvert at heart, and I don't think anybody's changing me.
You have to meet a gal named Chelsea Nespor, one of the most dynamic women you'll ever meet in your life. She teaches
Calgarian?
Calgary.
Yep.
And you need to get on your show, especially a guy like you.
Yep.
Chelsea Nespor runs the Dale Carnegie course here in Calgary. And if you took that course, I guarantee you will benefit hugely through it.
Do you think you can change your like DNA of who you are?
Yes.
Yeah?
Because it's a skill set. We all have a skill set, and we have a toolbox that we use subconsciously. But when you start using that skill set consciously, how powerful is that?
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you don't really like standing in front of strangers and
I don't like walking into a room with, like, if there's 5 people at a house party,
Yeah.
in a kitchen, if there's 5 people in the kitchen talking, I get uncomfortable. I do not want to walk in that kitchen.
we got to get you to change that,
Well-
because that's going to be such a powerful piece of your brand and your business.
Or
Yeah.
do I go all in on these intimate one-on-one moments?
Well, I think you still do this.
So the answer is both.
It's definitely
It's just
both.
getting a little more comfortable in those kitchens.
Your wheelhouse is right here. This is your lane.
Yeah.
But you need to get that extrovert, even if you're faking it until you make it. Like, you need to, because you're going to meet you're a dynamic individual, and you're going to meet some people who are incredible interviews
Yep.
just by walking in that kitchen and saying, "I'm Jeff Humphreys."
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And nice to meet you. Whereas I love that.
Yeah, you're
My
like-
name is Jason Seitanidis, and I'm going to meet you. Whether you want to meet me or not, I'm going to meet you, right? And
Yeah.
Chelsea can help you with that. You just got to meet her.
Yeah. Well, she sounds super interesting already, which is
I'm going to send in a text.
Good, perfect.
A connection to you guys.
Good.
And you have to just meet her
okay. Dude.
and have her on your podcast, because
That's why this show is awesome, right?
Oh.
It's my dot connecting.
Yeah.
What people don't understand
Yeah.
is why I actually do this and what actually happens after.
Right.
And when this is why you and I connect, because I love connecting dots.
Yeah.
And you're a master at it, and it's a big part of your life, and that's why you're already thinking about it. I need to connect you with this person.
Yeah.
Which is why I have this show, so I can be more, like, it's just it all goes together.
You need a bunch of us.
Yeah, totally.
Get a whole bunch of people here.
Yeah, totally. And there needs to be more weeks in the year, and this thing is just,
Yeah, totally.
it goes.
Start with yelling your name out.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Totally. So funny, man.
And then people are like, just gravitate to you instead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
we'll get you.
oh man, this
We've
is
been all over here. We're all over the place in this conversation, aren't we?
which is so cool, because I think that's why I love this format, and it's different from a lot of shows, because there's no
Right.
there's only one question that that's coming, and that's it, and the rest of it is just a conversation.
Yeah.
Which I think is the most authentic way to actually hear a story and tell a story. So.
Right.
Yeah, I love that it goes all over the place, because it's also fun, right? And that's why you and I connect, because it's like you said, when you meet somebody that's kind of like nice. I say flat is kind of it's a short-term relationship, right?
Right.
When you meet somebody that's got some energy and that's firing and the
be
wheels are
around
moving, you and I have talked about 15 different avenues right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
have.
It makes it fun.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
At least I'm providing some entertainment for you.
Well,
Thank you.
That's why I invited you on, because I knew I wouldn't be bored.
Good.
I should put a bow on this sucker.
time, yeah.
The only question I ask is,
Yeah.
when I say Calgary, where does your head go? I'm very curious.
When you say Calgary as a city,
However you want to take it, when I say Calgary, where does your head go?
Calgary is one of the few places in the world when it's booming, a 19-year-old can make over $100,000, and when it's bad, it gets bad, but super dynamic, I guess. Calgary is dynamic. It is fun. It's, like I said, there's nowhere else in the world that a young guy can make a way in the world as easy as he can in Calgary. I think the opportunities here are unlimited. You know, we talk about the American dream. I think it's the Calgary dream in Canada. I don't think there's a place anywhere else in the world where you can be what you want, how you want, and make it big in the city.
Yep.
Right? It's unlimited opportunity, I think. Yeah, I can't think of anywhere else that is similar to this. We've lost our Wild West kind of feel and our attitude.
Yep.
But
Is it temporary?
that's okay. I think it's temporary. I'm looking forward to these Gen Zers coming up. What kind of businesses they're going to put out, what kind of restaurants they're going to have, and bars. I think they're going to be a tough generation. I think they're going to be a bunch of kids who have drive.
Yep.
They're going to go back to pounding metal on a anvil, and they're going to be back in kitchens and restaurants and bars and doing the old school stuff that maybe we all don't like to do anymore.
Yep.
I think they're going to pick it up and
go
thrive, man. I'm looking forward to the
That's
next
cool.
30 years. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's interesting. The opportunity tone has come up a couple times when I ask guests, and it's you know, it's it kind of makes sense, right? You get a bunch of entrepreneurs on a show, and they see opportunity, and that's why they love this city.
Where else can you do this anywhere else in Canada from zero?
Yeah.
From zero.
Literally.
Right?
Yeah.
Everywhere else you're getting squeezed out by big market players, right? Not that there's not a lot of big market players in the city. There's a ton. But there's still room for that small guy to get a foothold and make a go, right? Yeah. Which is, Toronto, you don't do that.
No.
You don't do it in Vancouver.
No.
You don't do it in New York. Yep. You don't do it in Tokyo. You don't do it in Dubai.
Yeah.
Athens. You can't do this in Athens. You know?
Yeah.
Nowhere. Calgary, man.
I agree.
Bad hockey team. Great city.
That's a different conversation.
Man, I wish I had a good hockey team. It'd make my life as a restaurateur and bar way easier.
Yeah. The climb was always going up. Yeah. We slam dunk.
It'd be great. Yeah.
81 nights a year.
Then, right? Especially on 17th here, right?
Totally.
You have a successful hockey team. You have every restaurant here is full.
It's over.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
My pleasure, Jeff. Anytime. I love doing this. This is a really fun idea. I'm gonna have to start learning from you this trade, this craft, because I like to give it a go.
Well, and because this is, you and I are very similar. We connect dots.
Yeah.
And our circles, I have the same thing. I have a bunch of different circles. Yeah. And that's what allows me to do this show. So I think you fit the mold. we just got to figure out what you need to talk about.
That sounds great.
So yeah, thanks again. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Jeff. Anytime.
Cool.
Matador Pizza.